Good morning. President Trump revived the threat to sue the Fed Chair, Jerome Powell, for gross incompetence. The president is fixated on the cost of renovations of the Federal Reserve building, accusing Powell of allowing the cost to balloon. But Powell has pushed back on those claims and says the project was first approved in 2017 and has been subject to annual budget approval by the Fed's Board of Governors since. Well, GM's record stock performance beats Tesla, Ford, and other automakers this year. General Motors stock is up 55% compared to Tesla's 17% gain, 34% for Ford, and a 15% loss at Chrysler parent Stellantis. Well, stocks fell across the board yesterday. Investors took profit on tech stocks, and the precious metals like silver and gold, which hit record highs early, turned tail and ended up closing lower on the day. Well, the minimum wage will go up in 19 states starting January 1st. 3 more states, Alaska, Florida, and Oregon, will increase the minimum wage later in 2026. Washington will retain the highest minimum wage in the country, rising to $17.13 an hour on Jan 1. The state uses a set formula based on inflation to determine annual hikes. And corporate bankruptcies are reaching levels not seen since the Great Recession, with inflation, high interest rates, and punishing tariffs pushing hundreds of companies over the edge in 2025. At least 717 U.S. companies filed for bankruptcy through November. That's according to S&P Global Market Intelligence, and that's a 14% jump from the same period last year. Among the high-profile bankruptcies, Rite Aid, 23andMe, and Spirit Airlines. The Federal Energy Information Administration expects electricity prices for residential customers to rise by 4.2% next year. That follows a nearly 5% increase this year. The Wall Street Journal, however, cites a recent Carnegie Mellon study showing electricity bills could rise by 8% next year because of the growth of data centers. Now, some utilities are urging big tech companies like Google and Microsoft to pay higher fees to link their data centers to local power grids. Toyota issued a recall for tens of thousands of top-selling vehicles after it learned the vehicles could catch fire while in use. Toyota learned of this issue in which a bolt inside the inverter in the hybrid powertrain can become loose and could lead to a loss of motive power or could lead to a fire when the vehicle is on. The recall affects 2025 and 26 Toyota Camry and 26 Corolla Cross hybrid vehicles. An estimated 55,000 vehicles were recalled, with over 50,000 being Camrys. Well, the Washington Post reports on a woman on LinkedIn that changed her name to a man's and her reach quadrupled. The woman also gave her ChatGPT ID a more masculine edge. Since then, LinkedIn has been inundated with posts from women who said their visibility on the platform grew after they took measures to obscure their gender or appear more masculine. In response, LinkedIn said its AI systems and algorithms build off hundreds of signals, but don't use demographic information such as age, race, or gender to determine the visibility or posts on a feed. And today is National Bacon Day, so Wendy's is offering bacon cheeseburgers, junior cheeseburgers, for just a penny. Now, to get that deal, you need to redeem the offer in the Wendy's app and make a purchase in order to get the sandwich for 1 cent. A new poll of American parents found that a majority of parents surveyed, 69%, think the physical health of American children and teens is getting worse. And even more parents are worried about their kids' emotional well-being. 83% believe the mental health of young Americans is also on the decline. Results of the poll also show parents believe social media, too much screen time, and internet safety are some of the top health concerns that kids face today. Copper prices rose by the most in over a decade this week, and in fact, all the metals are going crazy right now, and copper's at a record high. Copper's been climbing recently on demand for it in AI data centers. Hyperscale AI data centers can consume up to 50,000 tons of copper per facility. Google co-founder Sergey Brin, as well as investor Peter Thiel, are among billionaires threatening to bolt from California over a proposed tax. The ballot measure, it would tax 5% of their total wealth, which would equal a staggering $12 billion for Larry Page, and then $1.2 billion for Thiel. Supporters say the revenue could help offset federal funding cuts for health care. The Billionaires say they are already heavily taxed in California, and the state is wasteful with the tax dollars it already collects. And print book sales through December 6 were down 1% to 679 million from the same period a year ago. That's according to the book tracker Circana BookScan. Digital audiobook sales have been on a tear in recent years and jumped by nearly 24% last year to 1.1 billion, according to the Association of American Publishers. The success of the audio version is about audiences getting to hear the story straight from its celebrity author. In others, it's about drama and the suspense of a well-told story or riveting sound effects. Led by Ken Paxton, the Attorney General of Texas, deep red states have sued investment managers BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard over coal prices that increased from 2019 to 2022. The plaintiffs allege that the money managers violated antitrust laws by conspiring under the cloak of pro-climate activism to restrict coal production to drive coal prices higher, and that led to higher electricity bills for consumers. Other states involved in the suit include Wyoming, West Virginia, Montana, Indiana, and Alabama. Well, China is investing billions in Latin America, potentially sidelining U.S. farmers for decades. SuccessfulFarming.com reports recent investments across the region have positioned China to source more agriculture products from Latin America as it pivots away from U.S. farmers in response to tariffs. And the year began with eggs seeing their biggest price hike in nearly 10 years, rising 15% to $4.95 in January. The average price of coffee per pound has been rising since the start of the year due to weather and tariffs. And beef also rose this year on thinning cattle herds. Not all grocery prices rose, though, in 2025. Pantry staples such as pasta and white bread saw price declines. The Trump administration said states will receive an average of $200 million next year from the government's new $50 billion rural health care fund. This is designed to soften the impact of federal health care cuts. These millions will go to modernize health care in rural communities that have faced hospital closures. And a consistent bedtime may play a meaningful role in lowering blood pressure, according to new research. While most people think primarily about just getting enough hours of sleep, experts say when you sleep also has an important effect on heart health. Dr. William Liu, medical director at Dream Health in San Francisco, told Fox News that sleep duration and sleep timing work together, and that consistency is a key part of cardiovascular wellness. From the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Jane King. Here's your health.